wanted to go ahead and once more just go over a few of my books. It's what I find most relaxing. I don't know. But after showing off a lot of my Dungeons and Dragons titles, I figured I would begin to show off some of my other TTRPGs that I like to play. The first one, and let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. That might be helpful. I was supposed to do that before I hit record, but the first one, I think most people who like tabletop games will recognize pretty quickly. And it is the core rulebook for Pathfinder 2nd edition, which is effectively Dungeons and Dragons for math nerds. I kid. I love Pathfinder a lot. I think that the character building is very fun, and the balance is very concise. The math checks out. Paizo did their work on Pathfinder 2nd edition. On the back, there is a goblin alchemist who looks like they have constructed a bomb. They probably shouldn't just be holding that, but goblins be goblins. And on the front, you have a bunch of heroes fighting against a red dragon. It goes without saying that this is also one of the junkiest core rulebooks I've seen for tabletop. I'm sure there are many more, but this is the one that I look at and I'm like, yeah, that's big. I do love the art of Pathfinder. It's very reminiscent of like a pulp fantasy. I like this art too. Another thing I really like about Pathfinder is that martial characters like fighters and champions, rangers, all feel very powerful, which is something that I felt Dungeons and Dragons was lacking for a very long time. I think they have fixed that in the new 5.5 edition to a good extent, but Pathfinder does it very well. I think better, in my opinion. It's also very, very versatile with how you can build characters. It feels like instead of like a baseline that you can sort of build off of, it's like you have a building block in a pile of Legos, and your character is the end result of you building all those Legos together. And personally, I really like that. next game is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, a grim world of perilous adventure. I don't know how many of you like Warhammer Fantasy. I personally really like it. I like Warhammer in general, but I've always been more of a fantasy nerd than like a sci-fi nerd, so this speaks to me a little. I play a ridiculous amount of Warhammer Vermintide 2. And that is what got me into this. I don't actually know how to play this one yet. I'm learning it at the moment, but it's a lot more like crunchy than the other games. So I'm slowly learning how to do it. I think more games would benefit from not getting easier, but simplifying mechanics. I don't think, and this might be a hot take for some gamers out there, but I do not think that a tabletop needs to be crunchy to be good. It's kind of like a math equation, right? Where it's like you learn in elementary to middle school. Like, it's much easier to solve an equation if you break it down to its core principles. And I fully agree with, I guess, the people who say that that is also the methodology that role-playing games or dice games should follow. I conscribe to that idea. Subscribe to that idea. Conscribe is different. I'm not going to the military for that idea. Then on the back it repeats that mantra, a grim world of perilous adventure. All that is to say, this is a very crunchy game. And on the first page you have the map that Warhammer Fantasy takes place in. And it is a gorgeous map. One thing I do really like about this book, though, is that the first few pages are full art pages that give flavor text for the world, and it helps, I think, players who are reading this get into the character before they make one. And I mean, this is just so Tim Burton-esque. I love this art. Maybe not exactly Tim Burton, but I'm sure you see the familiarity. My apologies. I know it's like a cultural thing for the dwarves, specifically slayers in Warhammer, but I love this Mohawk dwarf. What a vibe. It's just a lot of world text, which I do not mind. I actually partially bought this book just to learn more about the world of Warhammer Fantasy. It's always been a dream of mine to write my own tabletop game, but I don't really know where to start. I'm pretty good at mechanics, I'm pretty good at ideas, but when it comes to actually putting pencil to paper and making one, I am useless. So, maybe in the future, who knows? On the front, you can see there's a rat ogre and Skaven fighting against the quote-unquote heroes. Alright, that was the second book. Now for the last one, and this actually might be my favorite tabletop role-playing game, even above Dungeons & Dragons, though I rarely play it. I rarely have people to play it with. And that is The One Ring, 2nd edition. It is a role-playing game set in the world of Lord of the Rings. And not only do I love Lord of the Rings, but this game is so well designed. I kid you not. It is fun. And I mean, listen to that sound. This game is published by Free League, and they did good. Opens up with a map of Eriador, which is where the hobbits live. I mean, it's a lot more than just that, but effectively it's the western coast of Middle-earth. But the lead writer was Francesco Nepitello, and the game designers were him as well as Marco Maggi. And I just gotta shout them out for just making this absolute masterpiece of a game. Also, I don't know how to describe it, but like, the pages, while they are tight-knit and uniform, they feel like parchment, almost like there's a texture to it. I don't think it appears in the camera, but you can kind of see it. And it's nice to feel, and I think that's something every book really needs. It gives like an account of like the last few ages of Middle-earth, as well as some absolutely gorgeous art of Gandalf the Grey entering a house in Hobbiton. I'm assuming it's Bag End. The reason I like this game is because the character building is very simple, but It's very, very cool. It feels like every option you pick is incredibly important. And it doesn't feel like anything is too weak, which is something that is really hard to get in game balance. Typically, there's always something that's a little bit weaker or a bit too strong, and I will say there are some things that feel like they're pretty strong in this, but never to the point where you would only ever pick that. And I think it's just so good, so well designed. The way that items are basically done is really cool. Effectively, you have like your loadout, and that's pretty much what you have, which I think is really good for games like fantasy, because, I mean, in Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who have played, how many of you, pick a sword as your starting weapon, and it's like you get new magic items that aren't swords, but it's like, yeah, but I built my character to be a swordsman. This effectively fixes that. Your starting gear can be used throughout the game, and like you can get like upgrades effectively for stuff. That's what magic items are. They're like upgrades. Upgrades, people. Upgrades. And I think that's very cool. You have like a base defense that is like something has to roll to hit you and all that, but that's not dictated by your armor. Your armor is like gives you a specific like dice to roll to resist wounds, which I think is a good distinction. It's very cool. Like, as you level up, you can invest points into Valor or Wisdom, and like those will get you like feats, which are, I believe, called, what are they called in this game? Virtues, which are specific to your race that you pick. So like if you pick like a bard, like the bardlings, like you would get like you get like dwarf friend or dragon slayer, things like that. But if you picked let's say like men of Bree, you could like have like a Bree pony, or you could have like an ability called Strange as News from Bree, which I think is really cool. And then like if you level up in Valor, you get rewards, which are your magic items that you can upgrade effectively, which I think is very cool. Overall, if you have not played this game and you like Lord of the Rings and you like fantasy tabletop role-playing games, I recommend it fully. It's very easy to learn as well. It's not too complicated, but there is enough depth to this that it doesn't just feel like, like it has no substance. It does. It has so much substance. It's just easy to learn substance. Alright, that's all of the books I have for today, but thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, a comment, and feel free to subscribe. I probably should have put this earlier in the video, but alas. I hope it was relaxing, and if you were trying to go to sleep, hopefully you fell asleep. If you're trying to work, hopefully work's going well. Either way, I will see you in the next one.